Grass is always greener on the other side, and that is what the role of trek leading is. Of course, I would not deny that we don't get that time and space to explore new places, travel a lot, meet new people, learn a lot from them. Of course, all of this is there as part of trek leading, and that's what makes it very charismatic and very aspirational role to take. But
people think that trek leading is exactly how it is shown somewhere in Ye Jawani Hai Diwali. So they have a very strong notion of that, but it's not that.
You can't really compare it with normal corporate job where you have to go at 9 o'clock, come back at 5 o'clock and it's done. You're out of it. It's not like that. Here, even at midnight, even while you're sleeping, you have to be aware of what is happening around the campsite.
Under that initial superficial layer of all that beauty and charisma, there is a lot of hard work and dedication required.
It requires a lot of mental strength, it requires a lot of physical strength, and it requires a lot of emotional strength as well.
Trek leading is a very physically demanding role. You will be actively going from one slope to another for more than half the month. Not just that, even when you're trekking, you are trekking at twice the distance and twice the speed than your trekkers, because you're always catching up with the first trekker and you're going back to check on the last trekker. So even the normal trek that is much more easier and moderate for a trekker is difficult for you because you're going up and down again. And all of this complicates when you have a different weather, when there is heavy snow, when there is heavy rainfall.
It rained I think for straight 10 hours or so. And everything was wet. Trekkers' clothes, their backpacks, shoes, socks, even my clothes were wet. I also had a bit of fever.
The mules were finding it very difficult to cross, so I still remember that all of the trek leaders and all of the members who were there in that short team of 8, we had to hold the mules with our own shoulders, give them support with our own hands.
Sometimes when weather is bad, when it is minus 15 degrees outside, you are drenched in cold water and it is still snowing and you have to, help clearing that campsite, shrug snow off the tents, meanwhile take care of your trekkers.
As you are the trek leader, you are the sole person responsible for the entire flow of the trek. You're the person responsible for your team members as well as your staff members, as well as the serenity and the sanctity of the mountains.
But I would still say it's just the 40% of it. I would say it's 40% physically challenging and 60% mentally challenging.
Let's say you're going on a trek. Right from the beginning, you're interacting with strangers and your goal is to get them together. Not just that, once they come together, you want to make sure that the trek runs safely, sustainably, and you want to create an environment where you're able to share trekking knowledge, you are able to make sure that the trekkers go through the transformation experience that they are here for. And you're constantly doing this day in, day out, and it can be very mentally challenging. It's very intellectually stimulating, but at the same time it is challenging.
When you're leading treks, you have to be almost the entire year on the different seasons. You move from one slope to the other, one mountain valley to the other, but you hardly get time to spend with your own family, right? And you always get thoughts about your family, for example, your little sister or your mom and dad and what they would be doing, how would they be doing, and of course they call you and ask, "Beta, are you all right?" and all that.
And it gets even more difficult if you know that maybe your family members are not doing well. Sometimes it just gives you goosebumps to think that you don't know what news you'll hear after 10 days. It can be a good news or it can be a bad news also.
I received a message from my home. My dad had written that it's urgent, whenever you get network, call us. And then I called him immediately and I got to know that my grandfather got this paralysis attack and then he was hospitalized. I was there on the second campsite and I did not want to show it to anyone what I was going through because I didn't want to ruin their experience for my own situation. So we spoke for 5-10 minutes and I got back to the dining tent. My trekkers were waiting for me and then I did a small session with them about AMS hip haze, and nobody ever got to know that I had a call with my dad and something like this had happened. At the end of it, it feels all worth it when you see those transformations happening in other people's lives, and you know that you are one of the reasons for them to go through that transformation.
I think there's a quote that I want to start with, that the best views comes after hardest climb. When at the end of any given trek, you see people going back with transformed lives, with resolutions, with changes that they would take with themselves and they would apply into their own lives. I think it's worth it.
I wish I could spend my days not only living for myself but for a cause which is greater than just my life. Be there to help impact people's life, to help people see what the beauty of outdoors is, how nature can teach us to live and grow as better humans.
The feeling of saving somebody's life is something which not every job gives you, and when you do that on a trek, being a trek leader, it makes you feel something which is very, very different.
It is bringing a smile to a family's face. It is bringing a smile to an old person's face. It is bringing a smile to people's face who had thought that maybe there is no happiness left in them.
It affects them for their entire lifetime, and that is something which gives us that kick to do it all over again.
After an entire days of hard work and struggle, you just are able to sleep with a nice smile on your face. And I think that's all the rewards that you can look for, to be happy, truly happy.
It's not a simple job, it's not an easy one, but it is the most rewarding job that is there on this planet, I would say.